Okay, now I got the recorder on right now. Okay, explain. We can see the shirt is here, Lost Boys. Tell me a little bit more details about the founding of. What made you even think about doing this?
Sure. So in 2006, my wife Dana had brought back a flyer she found in the community about South Shore Little League coming back to the community. It was another guy reinvented it, Mr. Daniel Anderson.
Okay.
So I was really excited. I grew up in this community. I played in South Shore Little League, which used to be a Rainbow for years, and it was ran by a great guy, white guy named Dennis Bonesbreaker, but he was just amazing in the community for the boys. So Dennis would make sure everybody had equipment, uniforms. We just have a great time. So I remember all my childhood, and I said this would be great to coach in it because I continued on with baseball. I wasn't a fabulous player, but I continued on for a long time through college, and it stopped around there. So I said, thank my wife for bringing that flyer. I joined, started coaching, kind of got a ragtag group of kids, a few experienced kids, some not, but we really worked hard. My best friend that went to South Shore together, Joe Stewart, who just recently passed last year. Joe came out, helped me coach, and we won the league's championship with our first team, so I was hooked. So I continued with Daniel Anderson for about 2 more years, and or a year and a half, and then Mr. Anderson, for some reason, folded the league in the spring of 2008. So here I was at South Shore. I had a group of kids, which one of them I just ran into on the bus and is now like 19 or 20 years old.
Oh, wow. You look so young.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so he was 11, about 11 or 10 then. But yeah, I'm sitting with these kids and I'm getting ready to explain to them, hey, I'm going to help you. If you want to keep playing baseball, I'll make some contacts for you over at Jackie Robinson West or at Southside Little League or one of our sister leagues that are in District 4.
Okay.
And as I was in the middle of explaining that to the kids, it's middle of the afternoon, we're at Rosenblum Park at South Shore High School, the old way, and 2 guys are pursuing another guy across the field, guns out. I'm old school, so I hit the dirt. The kids are like kind of bantering and they kind of got a side gamble going on if the guy's gonna get caught or not. So at that point, it just dawned on me, and I mean, I grew up in the 90s as a teen, so I was from the Boys in the Hood, Minister Society era when gangs were prolific in Chicago, and the stats were horrible, and things were just horrible in terms of kids.
Right.
And so I said, my God, I felt this pit, my stomach turning. I said, look what we've done to these kids, because I'm indirectly responsible for that too. I contributed to that. I got involved in that stuff. And so then I felt, by my faith that I had a greater calling, that I had to do something to reverse it or, in my faith it was just about making that reconciliation and really being repentant, repentant, asking for forgiveness, but then doing something to show God that I was really different about it.
Right.
So I started Lost Boys. I said, well, we took the kids and we started barnstorming. And I had to come up with a name because I was trying to get a 501c3 so we could get donations and stuff like that. And first the name developed, and so at that moment when I reflected on what happened that day and then just thinking about the condition and the state of some of the kids, some of them would be there at practice hungry, sadly pretty dirty. So it was just some things, and I said, man, the kids are so, they're lost, they're spiritually lost. Some of them are mentally lost, they're emotionally lost, and it's not a fault of their own. When I say lost, it's the fact that the adults dropped the ball.
I totally agree with you.
They don't have these kids in the hip pocket anymore.
Right.
And these kids don't have a safety network of adults to mentor and to look out for them. Everybody was kind of, at this point, into, I'm going to take care of me and mine. So that's where Lost Boys came from. It wasn't a reflection necessarily of the kids, but it was a reflection of us adults in the community. So I needed something that was provocative enough to get people's attention and to pay attention. So that's how it came about. And we started off just a baseball program. And as I was developing the 501c3, it turned into something more. Because there were all these questions in the documents and mission statements. And I said, man, I got some knowledge. I've done some things before. I could do a lot more with this. And from there, we really began to develop overall this organization. And so the last 3 years, we've been really sharp at redefining who we are, redefining our mission, redefining our core services. We're doing everything by the book in terms of how you develop programs, how you evaluate them, There are great goals in place, objectives, metrics, and we're just having some really good output and very positive outcomes. So now we're at the point where we're trying to measure our impact instead of just claiming impact.
Right.
We want to substantiate it statistically in significant ways. So that's how Lost Boys kind of came about. So the mission now is basically it's sports-based youth development. So our mission is to decrease violence in the South Shore community among our youth by developing their character and their abilities through the platform of baseball and now softball, because we became inclusive and added the girls.
Oh, but I was going to ask that question, like, where the girls at? Where are the girls?
And it was funny how that happened. My daughters were playing basketball. They go to Horace Mann.
Okay.
And Coach Smith, the lady coach who was taking care of that, she wanted to do softball. And so what we did, because at the time the school did not have that necessarily in the budget, or it wasn't planned to have a softball team, so we approached the principal and said, hey, our nonprofit will partner with you to do this, and we'll subsidize the cost, and we'll kind of we'll offset the human resources that you need to make it happen. So we took care of all the administrative stuff. We reduced the cost tremendously by about 75% what it normally would have cost the school. And they put a little chip in the bucket, less than 4 figures, way less. And we took care of the rest. And the girls had a fabulous season. So they played for CPS, and I think they won their division or whatever it is. And then they rolled over with us into the summer. That was the partnership. So it was a great pilot. The board was pretty satisfied with what we had going, and especially because from a social standpoint, our girls, black girls, are experiencing a lot of the issues now that black boys are. And as a dad, I said, you know what, I'm going to be proactive about this, and I'm going to figure out, because this model is not exclusive to gender, this development model. And see, the whole theory underneath it is positive youth development, which basically says that mutually beneficial relationships can place children on positive trajectories in life. So in other words, if we surround them with caring mentors who are involved in so many aspects, and that relationship is happening back and forth between adults and the kids, then these kids start to build these attributes and these characters that we want them to have. And so that's the whole premise of what we do. And we do it on a 3-prong model. It's really simple mantra. Good. Which you can see on the back of the shirt.
Hey, we see this, we see this.
And cultivate our children. And it gets really complicated in each core competence area. But that's what we're doing now, thanks to Up to Us, which is an affiliate organization that we've been receiving training from our coaches, and they have tons of research. They're based out of Boston on sports-based youth development. And so one of the things we walked away with recently is we're beginning now to approach trying to build these islands of competency with the children. So not only are they getting a baseball and a softball skill, but we want to build this competency island for education. And that's why you see the tutors downstairs. We want to build these social islands of socialization. So that's why they do a lot of service learning projects where they get to engage other kids, other people. They do projects that they can reflect on and that benefit the community. Like every year we partner with Ash Park Advisory Council to go over and do the beach cleanup on Earth Day. And we do buddy baseball every year out in Downers Grove, where the kids partner with non-black kids and adults who have mental and physical disabilities, and they help them play a game of baseball. And it's just really awesome because of the socialization that happens. Everyone's oblivious to race.
Good point. And you're also taking them outside the community.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm a big believer in going. I love my community, of course, I have a website. But having that ability to go outside, because you could experience things and figure what can I bring inside from what I get from outside as well. Yeah. So I think that's a great idea. The thing I also want to hit with you, I'm going to ask you about your future goal in a minute. But parents, how do you get the parents kind of involved? Or do they just automatically, because they like it so much, get involved? Or do you have some that maybe just send my kids?
I wish I had a simple answer. Kind of, as my boss would always say, it's a layered answer. So yeah, we have some parents who just naturally get involved, and they're fabulous. Other parents we have to coach a little bit and get them involved. And then honestly, there are just some deadbeat parents who are not involved, don't show up. It really frustrates my board. And as a parent, I can speak to that, and I think I can be somewhat critical fairly, because as a parent, I'm not a perfect parent, I'm not a perfect man.
Me either.
But I strive to do the best by my children.
Right.
So anything they're in, I'm going to be involved. I want to know about homework, social media activity, friendships, the whole nine. I'm going to be part of it. So, and we're working. We've been working the last couple of years we've been looking at and evaluating. We had some outside evaluators come in and look at how we can improve parental participation. And actually one of our objectives that matches one of our goals deals with getting the parents more involved. Because that's going to be really key. A lot of studies show that when kids have strong support at home, they tend to be a lot more successful.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'm a social worker professionally wise,
Yeah,
right? So I definitely know, and that what made me kind of have to think about the parents, because in the community, for what I do, as I go through the community and deal with events and activities and meetings, sometimes the biggest thing has been getting parents' involvement. And that's why I was just curious with that question, like how, what can you do? Because I'm hoping when I ask this question, I think I'm asking for everybody in the community. Well, I'm looking for that question or the answer that could help everybody. So I can see this is kind of across the board. You're going to have some that will come involved, and then you got some that you got to figure out how can I help. And then with those particular children that you notice the parents not so involved, do you find that you got to give them a little more attention?
Oh, we give them a lot more love. We recognize it right away.
Okay.
And we try to build these kind of neural networks for them where they have access to all of the mentors. We go a little beyond the call of duty, and outside of what we're doing, we're involved. Like one of my parents/coaches is also a district police officer.
Okay.
So when some of the teen boys tend to have problems, pick up the phone or call them, Officer Thompson, can you go do this, do that? So he's been able to mitigate a lot of problems where it could have escalated and turned really, really bad for the kid.
Easy.
But because he's been able to step in and mediate, the officers have dealt a little more lenient with our children because they understand what these kids are doing in the community.
Okay.
And so that's part of something we're doing this year in Winter Clinic. Every year we do, again, service learning is a core part of what we do and we are. And so we try to take socially relevant issues and make them relatable for the kids and do something that the kids can reflect on and something that can benefit the community. Okay. So this year we've been looking at, in Winter Clinic, last 8 weeks, we've been looking at police brutality. And so we've tried to look at it from a different lens. So we do support the Black Lives Matter, but we've tried to break it down and analyze it more in terms of accountability and responsibility from both sides. So how we've done that is the kids have watched the Children's March in Selma so that they can understand what overt and obvious racial abuse is from the police. And then we kind of fast forward and talked about Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, some of these current cases and how that's being viewed. So what the kids got from it, I think ultimately was, hey, this is how it was. We've moved past that. Yes, some of it still is about race, but a lot of it is about misperceptions and stereotypes. And we realize we play a big part in the stereotypes that are made about us and feeding into them.
We do.
Or disputing them by being different. So from all of that, the police have been very active partners from CAPS, thanks to Officer Ed Stanford.
Shout out to Stanford.
Yes, so we've had them all in. The kids have done a series of discussions with the officers. It has gotten really candid, and we've asked, it's been great because they've been able to really express themselves, ask the real questions. We've done role playing so that they can kind of understand perceptions and some different things. And so it's been magnificent to hear their feedback.
I know.
And so now what we've been working on the last 2 weeks is a culminating presentation. So they're developing, and you'll get a chance to see them working on it soon. They're developing a slideshow presentation that they're putting together to kind of summarize what they've done with the officers from their perspective.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah, so they're doing all of they're the engineers, they've selected the pictures, they've selected the music, they're taking care of the statements that are going into the video. They're organizing the whole thing, and we're just kind of overseeing the process. And so